Okay, good morning children. In the last class we had discussed about the structure of glucose, right? And I will repeat this Fischer formula once again. Yeah. We learned certain things about the structure of glucose, right? Through certain evidences from the chemical reactions, we have learned about certain factors about the structure of glucose. So based on all these facts, Fischer formulates the structure or the spatial arrangement of this glucose. Okay. And along with the structure of glucose, he also represents the configuration of gluconic acid, saccharic acid, etc. Okay. Gluconic acid, then saccharic acid, etc. According to Fischer formula, this glucose with 6 carbon atoms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 carbon atoms. They are in straight line, right? 6 carbon atoms. They are in straight line. And there is one carbonyl group is here. And this carbonyl group is aldehyde, CHO. Aldehyde group is present here. Then there are 5 OH groups. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 OH groups are attached to different carbon atoms. 5 OH groups are attached to different carbon atoms. And there are primary alcoholic group. That means this OH group is attached to a carbon. It is only attached to another CH2 group. So it is considered as primary group, right? Here in the case of OH, there is only one another carbon atom attached to the same carbon. In the case of this carbon, this one is another carbon, and here it is this one. So all these hydroxyl groups are primary hydroxyl groups or primary alcoholic group. So based on all these details, he formulated the configuration of this glucose. Okay, along with glucose, he also shows the configuration of gluconic acid and saccharic acid. Only difference between this saccharic acid and gluconic acid from glucose, instead of aldehyde, in the case of gluconic acid, here carboxyl group is there. Sorry, carboxylic acid group is there. And in the case of saccharic acid, both this aldehyde group and this OH group is also replaced by carboxylic group. This is the difference between glucose and the structure of saccharic acid. This is clear now, Achyut? And you have to draw the structure like this. That means you have no permission to change the position of OH to left side. Here, when you draw it like this, that means CHO, then OH here, then H here, then OH, H, OH, OH, H, then CH2OH. Here the configuration will be different. So you have to follow the same structure as shown in the figure. Okay? Yes. This is clear now, Achyut?
So the like what we saw in the equations, we are just writing in the result only.
Which equations?
Like in the previous day we saw like the process and all.
Yeah, that's a certain evidences that we are taking from those chemical reactions to formulate the structure of this glucose. So that chemical reactions also important. Okay, from that chemical reactions we can able to conclude these points about the structure of the glucose. Okay, so based on all these details, Fischer formulated this structure of glucose. Clear? Yes. So then we are moving to more details about the structure of glucose. And this glucose, it is named as D plus glucose. Okay, D plus, capital letter D, then plus hyphen glucose. This is the actual representation of glucose. And this D represents its configuration. D represents its configuration. And this plus represents dextrorotatory nature of molecule. I told you about the optical activity of compounds. That we will learn more detail in 10th chapter. But now you have to just listen. When a light it is passed through a Nicol prism, it will be in single plane. Okay, when an ordinary light, it is passed through Nicol prism, the plane of this polarized light either rotate to right or rotate to left. Okay, when an ordinary light passed through a Nicol prism, the plane of this polarized light, when passing through certain solutions, okay, when they are passing through certain solutions, they will be rotated either to left or to right. Clear? This property is known as optical activity. I will repeat once again. A single light or a light, it is passed through a Nicol prism. The plane of this polarized light will be rotated when it passes through a solution. Okay, this rotation either to left or right. If it is left, it is known as levorotatory. Left, it is known as levorotatory. And if it is to right, it is known as dextrorotatory. Dextro. So for this levo, we will write negative sign, and for dextro, we will write positive sign. So in the case of this glucose, it will rotate to right side. So it is known as dextrorotatory. That's why we are using this plus sign before the name of glucose. And the first one, D, it represents the configuration. Okay, I will explain that. This is clear, children? Optical activity. When an ordinary light, it is passed through Nicol prism, the plane of this polarized light, that is rotated either to right or left when they passing through certain solutions. Okay, and there are two possibilities there, either to right or to left. Either to right or to left. So based on this rotation, we can label this optical activity to two types, dextrorotatory or levorotatory. Dextra means to right side and levo means to left side. And plus sign for dextro and minus sign for levo. In the case of glucose, it is dextrorotatory. That's why we are using the symbol plus. Is this clear? Do you want to repeat it again? Anyone? Is it clear? All of you switch on your videos. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
All of you? Yes. So based on this rotation, we are using this plus sign. Okay, plus sign shows that dextrorotatory. This light will be passed through the solution. It will be rotate to right side. That is dextrorotatory, and in order to show its dextrorotatory action, we are using this plus sign. And there is one more sign there, that is capital letter D. Okay, D, it shows the configuration. It shows the configuration. That means we just relate the structure of this glucose with any other compound. Okay, and there are two forms for that compound. Based on the structure of these two forms of the compound, we can relate the structure of glucose with any of these two forms. Then based on these forms, we can able to categorize it into D. Okay, I will explain it. The relative configuration of a particular isomer of glyceraldehyde. Here we are using this glyceraldehyde for comparing the structure of this glucose. Okay, relative configuration of a particular isomer of glyceraldehydes, which contains one asymmetric carbon atom and exists in two enantiomeric forms. So here we are using this glyceraldehyde to compare the structure of glucose. And in the case of glyceraldehyde, these are the two forms of glyceraldehyde. There is one carbon at the center and four different groups attached to it. Okay, such types of carbon atoms or such types of atoms are known as asymmetric centers. Asymmetric. Asymmetric means different groups are attached to It is known as asymmetric center. When you look at the carbon atom in the center, there are different groups attached, right? CHO, that is aldehyde group, then OH, alcoholic group, H, hydrogen, then CH2OH, it is alcohol group. So there are different types of groups attached to same carbon atom. Such carbon atom is known as asymmetric carbon atom. It is not symmetric, right? Different groups are attached here, so it is considered as asymmetric carbon atom. Asymmetric carbon atom. And there are two forms for this asymmetric carbon atom. It is known as enantiomeric forms. Enantiomeric forms. So these two are the enantiomeric forms of glyceraldehyde. This enantiomeric forms can be obtained by non-superimposable mirror images. Okay, non-superimposable mirror images. These all things you will learn in detail in 10th chapter. No need to worry for that. You have to note this point. Enantiomeric forms means non-superimposable mirror images. Just 1 minute, children. Yes, enantiomeric forms means non-superimposable mirror images. What do you mean by the term superimposable? Superimposable. When you look at the mirror image of yourself, it is similar to that you can see the structure of the figure you can see in the mirror and your structure. Both are similar, right? Okay, just 1 minute. All of you listen here. When you show your hand on mirror, it is not considered a superimposable mirror image, right? Because when you show it in the mirror, where's your thumb finger shown in the mirror image? Is it in the right side or left side? When you show your hand towards a mirror, where's your thumb finger? It's in opposite direction, right? In the mirror image. That is considered as non-superimposable. It's in opposite direction. Okay. Then when you shows one square towards this mirror, it is superimposable because similar to that. Because square is symmetrical shape, right? So all symmetrical substances will show similar to that in the structure itself. But in the case of certain substances like hand, then your feet, these are different in their position. Your thumb will be shown in the opposite side in the mirror image. Such mirror images are considered as non-superimposable mirror images. This is clear? In the case of symmetrical substances, it will be superimposable mirror images. But in the case of certain substances, that is unsymmetrical structures, they have non-superimposable mirror images. Okay, non-superimposable mirror images. Then you look at the examples given here. Glyceraldehyde. These two are the non-superimposable mirror images of this glyceraldehyde. In the first structure, you can see that hydrogen in the left side and OH in the right side, right? And you look at the second one. OH is in the left side and hydrogen is in the right side. Yeah, Chud, any doubt?
Yes, ma'am. Enantiomeric form means?
Yeah, non-superimposable mirror images. That's it. Enantiomeric forms means non-superimposable mirror images. So when you look at this example, in the case of glyceraldehyde, this is the structure of glyceraldehyde. Carbon with aldehyde group, OH group, then CH2OH, hydrogen. Okay, and there are two forms for this glyceraldehyde, this plus form and minus form. These two are considered as the non-superimposable mirror images. When you look at the first figure, hydrogen is in the left side, and in the next figure, hydrogen is in the right side. That means the change in position occurs. Okay, it is not superimposable. Superimposable means when you place one above the other, both will be same. Okay, both will be same. But in the case of these two, it is non-superimposable, like our hand. Okay, it is non-superimposable, right? Because your thumb fingers will be in opposite direction. Clear? In your structure, it's like that, and the in the mirror image it will be opposite like this. That's it. Here this plus glyceraldehyde and minus glyceraldehyde, these are the two enantiomeric forms. This is clear, children? Non-superimposable mirror images. So we are comparing the structure of glucose with two forms of this glyceraldehyde. Okay, two forms of this glyceraldehyde. Have we completed this slide? No, right, Achyut?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then you can complete it. After we can discuss the remaining things. So you have to note 2 points here. Glucose, it's named as D plus glucose. D stands for its configuration, then plus stands for dextrarotatory nature of this molecule. So this plus nature, it is based on optical rotatory action, and this D, it stands for its configuration. And we are comparing the structure of glyceraldehyde to obtain the structure of glucose. And there are two forms for this glyceraldehyde. They are known as enantiomers. They are non-superimposable mirror images. And this non-superimposable mirror images, they are shown by asymmetric molecules. In the case of glyceraldehyde, I told you, there are different groups attached to this carbon atom. Such molecules are considered as asymmetric molecules. They are not symmetric in nature. Okay, not symmetric in nature. Completed? Yes. All those compounds which are chemically correlated to plus isomer. I told you there are two forms for glyceraldehyde, and those compounds which are chemically or structurally correlated to plus isomer of glyceraldehyde are said to have D configuration. Then you compare these two figures. This is the plus form of glyceraldehyde, and this is the structure of glucose. When you look at both these figures, here the hydrogen is in left side in the case of plus form of glyceraldehyde, and here also it is in left side, right? That means the terminal hydrogen, okay? Towards the end, we are considering only the last part of this glucose. And here their structures are similar. That's why we are choosing this D from this structure of glyceraldehyde. Okay, it is related to plus form of glyceraldehyde, so we are using this D in the name of glucose. This plus stands for dextrarotatory, and this one is for configuration, right? This one is for configuration. And this plus stands for dextrarotatory. Dextrarotatory. Dextrarotatory, it is related to optical activity. That's a rotation to right side here. And this D stands for its configuration. Here it is related to the structure of glyceraldehyde in the plus form. That's why we are using this D plus glucose. D plus glucose. Yes? Any doubt?
I forgot what was D.
Which one?
D.
Not clear?
Ma'am, D.
D. All those compounds which are chemically correlated to plus isomer of glyceraldehyde. There are two forms for glyceraldehyde, right? Plus form and minus form. Okay, in the plus form you can see that the hydrogen is in left side and OH is in right side. So all those compounds which relate to this structure, it can be considered as D glucose, okay, or D, the name of the compound. This is clear, Achyut? Yes, all those compounds which are chemically correlated to plus isomer of glyceraldehyde are said to have D configuration. That means OH group on the right side. OH group on the right side. Those related to minus isomer are said to have L configuration. But here in the case of glucose, it is related to plus configuration. So it is considered as D configuration, D. If it is minus, it is related to minus form of isomer, we will write capital L. That means OH group on the left. So the structure of glucose is compared to glyceraldehyde with respect to the position of OH group present on the lowest asymmetric carbon as given below. Lowest asymmetric carbon.
Ma'am, what is this W dot R dot?
With respect to. Completed?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Switch on your videos. So you have to learn the structure of glyceraldehyde and the structure of glucose. Okay. And we are comparing this lowest asymmetric carbon of glucose with this plus form of glyceraldehyde. Finished? Yes,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Yes. So, after this Fischer formula, we just move to this one. That is, glucose is named as D plus glucose. Okay, D plus glucose, and this D stands for its configuration and plus stands for the dextra-rotatory nature of this molecule. Dextra-rotatory nature. So, this dextra-rotatory nature, this word is related to optical activity. Okay, optical activity. When a monochromatic light or a light passed through a Nicol prism, the plane of this polarized light, it will be changed when it is passing through certain solutions. That's in the two directions, either to right or to left. If it is to right, it is known as dextrorotatory. It is considered as plus. Okay. The next one is towards left, that is considered as levorotatory, that is minus. Okay, and this D stands for the configuration. Here we are relating the configuration with plus form of glyceraldehyde. Plus form of glyceraldehyde. This glyceraldehyde is an example for one asymmetric molecule. That means the carbon atom, it consists of different groups. Okay, and the center carbon is known as asymmetric carbon because different groups are attached to the carbon. And enantiomer means the non-superimposable mirror image of its structure. Non-superimposable mirror image of its structure. So there are two forms for this glyceraldehyde. One is plus form and the other one is minus form. Here in the case of the structure of glucose, it is related to plus form of glyceraldehyde. That's why we are writing capital letter D. Okay. All those compounds which are chemically correlated to plus isomer of glyceraldehyde is considered as D configuration. That means OH group on the right side. If they are related to minus form, we will write L configuration. But here in the structure of glucose, it is related to plus form. That's why we are writing capital letter D. Okay. And here we are comparing the lowest symmetry carbon of glucose with the plus form of glyceraldehyde. Both are similar. That's why we are choosing this capital letter D. This is clear now? Any doubt, children? Vidur, any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Sharon, any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Then we are moving to the next topic, that is the cyclic structure of glucose. We have learned already one structure, that is a straight chain structure, right? So the structure 1 of glucose, that means the structure suggested by Fischer. The structure 1 of glucose explained most of its properties. But the following reactions could not be explained by this structure. The following reactions could not be explained by that straight structure. Okay. So these are the reactions that cannot be explained using the previous structure. First one, glucose does not give Schiff's test and hydrogen sulfate addition product with sodium hydrogen sulfate despite having the aldehyde group. Even aldehyde group is present in this glucose molecule. They do not give Schiff's test and hydrogen sulfate addition product with sodium hydrogen sulfate. This Schiff's test, it is used to identify the carbonyl group present in the molecule. Okay. Just write the Schiff's test that you will do for the practicals. Schiff's test used to identify the presence of carbonyl group. Which is the carbonyl group present in glucose, children? Which is the carbonyl group present? Aditya? Yeah, aldehyde. I told you aldehydes and ketones are considered as carbonyl groups. So this Schiff's test, it is used to identify the presence of carbonyl group. And we know that glucose contains this aldehyde group, right? But it will give negative result for this Schiff's test. Glucose does not give Schiff's test. That means no positive result is obtained from this Schiff's test. And when sodium hydrogen sulfate, NaHSO3, sodium hydrogen sulfate. When we add sodium hydrogen sulfate to this glucose, it will not give hydrogen sulfate addition product. Okay. If aldehyde is present in this group, it definitely give hydrogen sulfate addition product. But in the case of these two reactions, it will not give positive result. So we cannot able to explain this chemical reaction with a straight structure of the glucose. Okay. We have learned one structure of glucose that's suggested by Fischer. It's a straight chain structure, right? It's a straight chain structure, but using that structure we cannot able to explain the reason why this Schiff's test and hydrogen sulfate product is not obtained when reacting with glucose. Clear? Yes, that's the first reaction. Is this clear, children? First one. Yes, Schiff's test, it is used to identify the presence of carbonyl group, that is aldehyde. It's one of the carbonyl group. And aldehyde is present in the structure of glucose. But it will not give positive result for this Schiff's test. That means some issues there, right, with the structure of that glucose. That means it is not considered as the straight one. That's the main reason. Then the second reaction that could not be explained by the structure suggested by Fischer, the pentaacetate of glucose does not react with hydroxylamine, indicating the absence of free CHO group. CHO means that is the aldehyde group, okay. The pentaacetate of glucose that does not react with hydroxylamine. If aldehyde is present there, it should be react with it should be react with hydroxylamine. But here the pentaacetate of glucose does not react with hydroxylamine. It means that the CHO group is not in free state there. According to Fischer's structure, the CHO group is at the terminal position and it is free. But from this chemical reactions, it shows that the absence of free CHO group is there. Absence of free CHO group means it is linked to one another. It is not in free state. Okay. So the second reaction also shows that this straight structure of glucose, it is not properly correct. Okay. Then the third one, glucose is found to exist in two different crystalline forms which are named as alpha forms and beta form. Okay, which are named as alpha form and beta form. Yes, you can write there alpha and beta. Glucose is found to exist in two different crystalline forms which are named as alpha and beta. So these three reactions cannot be explained using the straight structure of glucose suggested by Fischer. That's why we are moving to the next structure, that is a cyclic structure of glucose. Cyclic structure of glucose. The structure that suggested by Fischer, it is considered as an open chain structure, right? Open chain structure, but it could not able to explain following reactions. First one, Schiff's test, then reaction with sodium hydrogen sulfate, then reaction with hydroxylamine, then glucose exists in two different forms. These all reactions could not be explained with the help of open chain structure suggested by Fischer. That's why we are moving to this cyclic structure of glucose. Cyclic structure of glucose. Dia, can you please read the following reactions? Could not be explained by this open chain structure of glucose.
First one, glucose does not give Schiff's test a hydrogen sulfide addition product with NaHSO3 despite having the aldehyde group.
Yes.
Second one, the pentacate of glucose does not react with hydroxylamine, indicating the absence of free CHO group.
Yes.
Third one, glucose is found to exist in two different crystalline forms which are named as alpha and beta.
Yeah, which are named as alpha and beta. You can also write the formation of this alpha and beta, children. Alpha form is obtained by,
Ma'am,
yeah,
tell us again what is Schiff test.
yeah, it's a reagent. It's known as Schiff's reagent, okay? And if carbonyl group is present in that another reactant that reacts with this reagent, it will give positive test, positive result. And in the structure of glucose, there is aldehyde group is there, right? But it will not give this positive result. That means there is some issue with this aldehyde group. Okay, it's not in free state. That's why it cannot able to give a positive result. Clear? That will be explained by the structure of the cyclic structure of glucose. Clear? Schiff's test, that means we are using one reagent known as Schiff's reagent. Okay, Schiff's reagent. And when carbonyl group or aldehyde is present in that chemical that reacting with this reagent, it will show positive result normally. But here no positive result is obtained. That means this aldehyde group that's not in free state. It is linked with one another. That's why. Okay. So this, yeah.
Equation also here written, right?
Which one?
Shift test.
Yeah, Schiff's test is used to identify the carbonyl group. That's it. Used to identify the carbonyl group present in the molecule. Okay, so this alpha form of glucose, it is obtained by crystallization from concentrated solution of glucose at 303 Kelvin. 303 Kelvin. And the beta form at 371 Kelvin. 371 Kelvin. Same method. Okay. Alpha form of glucose is obtained by crystallization from concentrated solution of glucose at 303 Kelvin, and the beta form will be obtained at 371 Kelvin. And this beta form, it is from hot and concentrated one. Okay, hot. Have you completed, children?
Ma'am,
Yeah.
ma'am, can you tell the beta form again?
Yeah, beta form is also produced by the crystallization from hot and concentrated solution of glucose at 371 Kelvin. Only the difference in temperature, and here we are using the hot and concentrated form of glucose. That's it. Finished? Gauri?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then about the cyclic structure of glucose. Okay, cyclic structure of glucose. One of the OH groups may add to the CHO group and form a cyclic hemiacetal structure. Do you remember the open chain structure of glucose? There are different OH groups there, right? One of these OH groups may add to the CHO group and form a cyclic hemiacetal structure. I will show the structure. So you have to remember this CHO group is linked to one of the OH groups. That means the CHO group is not in a free state. It is linked to OH group. That's why it cannot able to give Schiff's test and hydrogen sulfate addition product on reaction with sodium hydrogen sulfate. Okay. The previous reactions, they will not get positive result because the CHO group, aldehyde group, is not in free state in the structure of glucose. It is linked to OH group and form a cyclic hemiacetal structure. And this glucose forms a 6-membered ring in which OH at the carbon 5 is involved in the ring formation. So this aldehyde group, it is attached to the OH group at carbon 5, fifth carbon atom. It explains the absence of CHO group and also existence of glucose in two forms. The cyclic structure can able to explain the absence of CHO group. That means it's not in free state. It's in combined form. Children, audio disturbances here, right? From this board. Any issue? Nothing? Okay. Explains the absence of CHO group and also the existence of glucose in two forms. This cyclic structure can able to explain the absence of this aldehyde group and also the existence of glucose in two forms. That means alpha form and beta form. Two cyclic forms exist in equilibrium with open chain structure. Okay, there will be two cyclic structures here and they are in equilibrium with open chain structure. We have learned one open chain structure and that's in equilibrium with the two cyclic forms. So these all details about the cyclic structure of glucose. One of the OH group, it may add to the CHO group and forms a cyclic hemiacetal structure, and this glucose forms a 6-membered ring in which OH at carbon 5 is involved in the ring formation. So the CHO group is attached to the 5th carbon OH group. OH group in the 5th carbon atom. And the cyclic structure, it explains the absence of free CHO group and also the existence of glucose in two forms. Two cyclic forms exist in equilibrium with the open chain structure. Okay. Have we completed? Yes, right. Then this is the cyclic form of glucose. And I told you it exists in two forms. This is the alpha form and this is the beta form. And they are in equilibrium with the open chain structure. The similar image in your textbook, page number 415. Okay. Here you can see that there is one free CHO group in the, here there is one CHO group, right, in the second structure. In the first and second one, that in the form of cyclic ring, this CHO group is absent here, right. This C, it is attached to one oxygen. That means the CHO group is attached to the OH group in the 5th carbon atom. Here you can see that. And the absence of CHO group is exist in both alpha and beta form. Okay. In the cyclic structure, the free CHO group is absent because the CHO group, it is attached to the OH group in the 5th carbon atom. Okay. And the alpha and beta forms, it depends upon the position of hydrogen and OH group in the 1st carbon atom. Look at the 1st carbon atom of both alpha and beta forms. Here the position of hydrogen in the alpha form in the left side and here it is in the right side. Okay. Now it's time, right? So there is one more period, so we can discuss the structure, cyclic structure in the next class. Just wait. Donna, Lydia, why you joined late? Donna, can you hear me?
I was there, ma'am.
Okay, Donna, what about you? Okay, just wait, let me take your attendance. Okay, children, then we can continue this topic in the next class. Okay, then thank you all. See you in the next class. Bye.